So the other day, I was browsing the Halo Waypoint forums and came across a thread of someone hoping that Halo Infinite would bring back the mature ratings that the series had previously been. They wanted to replay the glory days of when Halo was meant for adults. This definitely intrigued me because I always believed that Halo rode the line between M and teen even when I was a kid. Was I overlooking something? Was I just desensitized to intense violence? Did my child mind not pick up on adult themes or inside jokes? Or am I correct in thinking that the Halo games didn't warrant a mature rating? So with the mindset of picking apart and examining each individual campaign, I will try to uncover what really caused the M ratings, how it compares now, and to see if it was justified at the time. But before we begin, if at any point you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, hit that bell, and share it around. It really helps. Thank you, and let's get started. The format I'll be going by in this video will be as follows. Examining each game, we'll look at the reasons it's rated M from the descriptions, see if they're valid, look into what other aspects that could affect the rating that weren't listed, and the final verdict. First on the list is Combat Evolved, which is rated M for blood and gore and violence. Let's start with the blood and gore, and regarding the blood, holy hell is there blood. You can see after even the first battle that there's a lot of blood. Huge pools of it. Literally.
A pool of their own blood to drown in. Am I right, Marines?
Sir, yes, sir!
Damn right I am.
That's enough.
That's enough!
Do you think you got him?
Bright blue blood from the grunts. Dark purple from the elites and jackals. Orange splashes from the hunters. And the Covenant aren't the only ones that bleed. Marines will paint the environment after an engagement, splattering surfaces with crimson puddles. Even the player themselves will leave blood trails if shot when their shields are depleted. But the way Halo portrays its blood doesn't make the player gag and look away. It fits that line of somewhat realism and comical hilarity how it's shown within its art style and presentation throughout the game. While addressing the gore, technically this game is gory. Gore by definition is blood that has been shed especially as a result of violence. But is there graphic gore? Not really. There's that one scene of an elite with its insides all open, and certain enemies. But it's not a Gears of War or Quake 4 with people getting chainsawed and disemboweled. Which brings us to the violence. Is it violent? Yes. You're murdering hapless aliens without breaking a sweat. You can break their spines with the butt of your rifle, blow them to smithereens, pierce their heads with a sniper, and give them a belly full of lead. Meanwhile, Marines are also executed, shot, blown up, stabbed, and even worse. Another potential factor in the rating could be Cortana. Technically, you don't see any graphic nudity, just the overall outline of a human body, but there's always the case that some executive somewhere said, "No, that's too much." Kids could play this game, and if they see any resemblance of a naked woman, it will be too graphic for them. We must raise the rating. But all in all, in my opinion, none of these things automatically push this game into M-rated territory. Then why did Combat Evolved get this rating? This is the reason CE is rated M. These bad boys, the Flood. A reoccurring theme throughout the original trilogy, the Flood take a somewhat tame gaming experience and cranks it to 11. Grotesque, parasitic life forms, their visual appearance and gameplay workings instantly changes the mild gore to something of a different game. Beginning with their visual appearance, the enemies and allies we've been interacting with for half the game are now disturbing abominations. Marines and elites are hardly recognizable with their skin dead and stretched, dripping glowing flesh, rotting from the inside. Heads pushed aside, all while in infection-formed sensory tentacles are seen coming out of the chest cavity. damaged combat forms are transformed into carrier forms, acting as mobile incubators for newly created infection forms. When in close proximity to the player, they will swell and burst, releasing more infection forms to infect new victims. Visually, this is definitely unsettling, even in 2001 graphics. Gameplay-wise, they're vastly different than the Covenant. No longer are headshots effective, or heck, even body shots. The only way to defeat a combat form is to utterly destroy its body. That means shooting off the limbs so they can't wield weapons or melee you. You have to mutilate the bodies just to make sure they're dead. This gameplay of actual body parts being blown off and the disturbing visual appearance of the Flood is the real and ultimate reason why Halo Combat Evolved is rated M. But was that the right decision? I would say yes. It barely squeaks over the M line, but because of the Flood and everything that comes with it, it hits it. While it might not be the most graphical detailed imagery by today's standards, for 2001 it certainly was. The blood and violence, while borderline comical, still show enough realism to warrant the rating at the time. Moving on to Halo 2, which is rated M for blood and gore, language, and violence. Halo 2 shares a lot of similarities with its predecessor, mainly because of its resemblance within its art style and gameplay, just in greater detail because of the more powerful engine. The violence is also on par with CE. We still have a ridiculous amount of blood from both the Covenant and humans.
You ain't much for brains, are you, son?
But we now have a new reason for the M rating: language. The funny thing is, there's about the same amount of swear words as CE, if not less. Going through the entire game,
they're in standard formation. Little bastards up front, big ones in back.
Like a postcard. Dear Sarge, kicking ass in outer space, wish you were here.
I heard that, jackass.
Relax. I'd rather not piss this thing off.
Hey, bastard. Knock, knock.
I really don't see the logic of why language is now a reason for the rating. Like CE, there's no F words, sexual expletives, or any other strong language. It's just baffling that now they include language as a reason for the M rating. Once again, the Flood are the big contenders for making this game M. The Flood follow the same design as CE, but with more detail. Human combat forms have sickly veins running throughout their bodies. Elite combat forms look even more decayed, and puddles of Flood flesh splatter and coat the environment. The same method of dismemberment is encouraged to take down these creatures, and it's certainly a sight to see. Going over other potential things that might influence the game. Cortana. Cortana is more defined, but still leaves a lot to the imagination. Again, you don't see any specific detail, so that's not a problem for the game.
Don't worry, you can pick me up later.
There are two other things that might have pushed it into the M rating. 1. The Arbiter's punishment and torture. Him being burned, stripped naked, and ending with him being branded, which being a child the first time playing was definitely disturbing. 2nd, after killing Regret, the next chief cutscene we are introduced to the Gravemind, which is definitely unsettling, but then you're shown Regret, infected and reanimated. His body absorbed to one of the Gravemind's tentacles, with smaller tentacles attached to his head, and skulls melted and adhered around him. It's definitely distressing. Overall, Halo 2, like CE, skirts that M rating, but with the Flood in greater detail, lots of blood, and a few select cutscenes, I can see why it was rated M at the time of release. Next is Halo 3, which is rated M for blood and gore, mild language, and violence. This is when things start to take a turn when it comes to blood and violence in the Halo series. Whereas after a firefight in previous games where you see blood and bullet holes litter the environment, Halo 3 just seems to take it in the other direction. Gone are the huge puddles of blood. Instead, we get conservative splashes which quickly dissipate into the ground. The blood itself is less noticeable, the gore is even less pronounced, which in turn diminishes the violence aspect of the gameplay. Gun sounds are less pronounced than CE and Halo 2, making gunshots sound more like BB guns than actual firearms.
Anyone in the barracks, I need a sit rep, now.
The entire act of shooting and killing the Covenant is watered down from the previous 2 games. Now the language from Halo 2 is changed to mild language in Halo 3. This is definitely a more accurate description of the Halo 3 swearing, but does it really impact the game's rating?
Hell, not again.
Cocky bastard just loves to run his mouth.
Kiss my ass.
This is trivial language. It's even more on par with a teen game's language than previous entries. Uncharted 4 says shit and asshole about 400 times, and that game's rated teen.
Shit! Oh, shit! Holy shit!
Holy shit.
Holy shit! Oh, shit!
Shit.
Whoa! Shit! Oh, shit! Ah, oh, shit!
Assholes. Assholes. Asshole. What an asshole. Oh, you're such an asshole.
Language shouldn't be the reason for the M rating in this game. It's barely heard, and when it's said, it's something a 12-year-old would say. Other things that might have influenced the violence rating. A new feature implemented in Halo 3 are the brute executions. Occasionally, on the Earth levels, the player will come across scripted encounters of brutes interrogating or torturing Marines and civilians. There are 3 unique animations. Punching the neck, which breaks the spine of the victim, holding the victim by the ankle and flinging him against the floor, and holding the victim by the throat, snapping their neck and kneeing the body. They are only experienced briefly, with 1 encounter on Sierra 117, 3 in Crow's Nest, and 1 on the Storm. While these executions are brutal and definitely violent, they show no blood or bodily wounds. I mean, compared to what was going to be possibly in the final game, what we ended up getting was pretty tame. Throughout the Earth levels, Marine bodies can be seen littering the battlefields and environments you traverse. Upon inspection, blood can be seen on the bodies and faces of the corpses. Wounded Marines can be seen huddled on the floor, writhing in pain, being looked over by a medic. With witnessing these casualties of war, it definitely makes the situation more desperate and emotional, but having bodies lying around doesn't automatically take this game into the mature category. Cortana. Cortana, like most things in Halo 3, has had a graphical upgrade with the power of the Xbox 360. Before, her body and overall shape was less pronounced, but now we can start to make out a little bit more detail. Of course, we don't see any graphic nudity, but you can start to make out that she has boobs, and she's not just some straight one-dimensional box. Overall, it's still tame enough to be put in the teen category. The real menace of the rating, the Flood, are shown in even more graphic illustration. This game has the most realistic looking version of the Flood, and it's the most horrific and disgusting interpretation out of all the games. In this game, the Flood have gained a slew of new gameplay and visual features. Probably the most notable gameplay addition is how the Flood die. In previous games, you had to destroy the limbs off combat forms, but with the exception of carrier forms, their main bodies were never completely destroyed. All of that has changed in Halo 3. When a combat form dies, it will fall apart into many chunky and liquefied pieces. Heads and arms will roll around the ground. Bodies will turn into mush. And now, with melee attacks and plasma weapons being effective against the Flood, the battlefield will be covered in decayed flesh. Another new addition is the live infection and transformation of victims. If an infection form attaches to an unshielded host, it will convert the host right before your eyes. Seeing a Marine struggle and fall to the ground in agony as their body transforms into an abomination of horror is quite frightening. While the Flood's appearance in CE and Halo 2 was chilling and disturbing, it's taken to a whole new level in Halo 3. Combat forms are now more alive, for lack of a better term. The growths on their bodies will squirm and bulge. Brutes and Elite's mouths will move and twitch. Human combat forms will occasionally scream in silent agony. It's portrayed more like the victims are conscious and alive, being tortured and in pain, unable to do anything. This is without a doubt the ultimate reason why Halo 3 is rated M. If the Flood weren't in this game, I would say without hesitation that this game would be rated teen. With its PG-13 violence and language, anyone above the age of 13 should be able to play this. Onward to ODST, which is rated M for blood, language, and violence. This will be a quicker overview, mainly because ODST has a slightly modified Halo 3 engine, which in turn shares pretty much all of Halo 3's features. But in summary, the blood and violence are about the same, language is about the same, and overall, it's like a spiritual successor to Halo 3. Even though the atmosphere is dark and moody, it still doesn't hide the cartoon violence and silly dialogue.
Hey, where's the fight at?
Take a guess, genius.
Son of a gun!
This is the first Halo game in the series that doesn't feature the Flood. While this makes sense story-wise, it leaves a vacuum of gory violence the Flood bring to the table that is definitely felt. 3 notable things that are on the more mature side. The ending of NMPD HQ has a brute chieftain attacking and utterly wrecking Romeo, almost killing him, with Buck then repeatedly stabbing the brute in the neck until its death. It's quite a memorable and violent cutscene that we don't see very often in Halo. Second, on the level Data Hive, you will encounter drones eating the remains of fallen New Mombasa police officers, which is a first for witnessing members of the Covenant eating human bodies. It's funny, I would have expected to see brutes or jackals be the ones eating the bodies instead of drones. And third, we have a brief confrontation with this New Mombasa police officer. If you found 29 of the 30 audio logs, you will gain access to the last audio log and discover what happened to Sadie's dad. The NMPD officer will then try to kill you, resulting in you having to shoot him back. While it is a first for the series, having a human enemy, it's not any different than betraying a random Marine because he won't get in the passenger seat of your Warthog.
Team killer!
Or defending yourself from Marines who are attacking you because you slipped and accidentally shot the captain. There's really no difference from a gameplay perspective. Halo 3 ODST did not deserve an M rating. Despite a quick cutscene, shooting a human, which you sometimes do anyway, everything is relatively tame with little blood, light language, no brutes executing Marines, no Flood, and overall mildness when it comes to the violence. There's a kind of goofiness with the dialogue, which at times makes this campaign more on the light side. Definitely should have been teen. Last of the Bungie Halos, Reach, which is rated M for blood and violence. Now, Reach is an interesting entry in the Halo series. It's the most realistic out of the Bungie games and portrays a more gritty and warlike approach. While its gameplay violence is about the same as previous games, its visuals convey a sense of realism, Guns look and sound like actual firearms. Bullets actually look like they shred through flesh and spark and flare when they hit surfaces. This realism impacts the blood as well. The blood spatter is increased from Halo 3, its coloring less cartoonish. Since the whole game's presence is to show the fall of a planet, there's also a lot more scripted violence, with people being tortured and pinned to walls, shot in the head, being stabbed with energy swords, plasma burning holes through people, and ships being shot down. An entire level is dedicated to showing off civilians being systematically hunted down and slaughtered, with the following level showing the city being glassed to ash. And at the end of the game, your character is seen being repeatedly shot, knocked down, and stabbed. The player themselves doesn't even make it out alive. Continuing with the game's increased violence, a brand new skill is also available to the player: Assassinations. If a player comes up behind an enemy and holds the melee button, they will perform a variety of unique killing animations. And while there's no blood or dismemberment with these animations, they're still quite violent, with the ability to stab an elite in the neck, sticking your knife in their head. Overall, I'd say Reach is definitely one of the more mature Halo games to date, with its greater emphasis on grittiness and the horrors of the Human Covenant War that we've not really seen in a game before. It portrays the frightening situation of fighting a war with the Covenant, and even with Spartans, how hopeless humanity was to stop it. With its depressing themes, disturbing visuals, and more realistic depictions of war, I'd say Halo Reach does deserve an M rating, even if it's a soft M. And finally, we have Halo 4, which is rated M for blood and violence. Halo 4 is when things definitely turn to more of a teen rating when it comes to blood and violence. Blood is almost non-existent, all that is seen are little sprays when shots connect, and the occasional baby spill of blood. It's quite sad that the UNSC weapons received an overhaul with their firing effect sound, but then comes off diminished because of the lack of blood and detail. The combat itself is about the same as previous games, but with Reach's animation mechanic making a return. The animations are pretty much the same as Reach's when it comes to the Covenant, but this isn't the reason why it's rated M. Let's get into the real reason why Halo 4 is rated mature. There are two things in particular. One, this cutscene.
They've compromised the station's hull.
The Didact's taken the composer. Get these people to the evac centers.
Taken how?
Tap the flight deck. Find us something that can carry a payload.
Wait. Something's happening.
Cortana, can you access the station's defense systems?
They're not responding.
Cortana.
Jeez. It's...
Not only does this cutscene come out of nowhere, but it's incredibly shocking and distressing. No Halo game has had a cutscene quite this disturbing. Watching these poor scientists have their skin, flesh, organs, and then bones melted and vaporized and then processed into Promethean nights is truly terrifying. I have to give props to 343 for actually showing a truly memorable and appalling cutscene without censoring it or making it less graphic. It definitely impacted the rating. 2. Cortana. Now, throughout the original trilogy, Cortana went through a series of graphical and artistic changes in regards to her appearance, but she never was portrayed specifically as a sexual object. Like I said before, Halo 3 was the closest we got when it came to seeing nudity with her, but it still left a lot to the imagination. It was subtle. Halo 4's Cortana is not subtle. She's overtly sexualized to the point where it detracts from her character and the emotional aspect of her story arc, hence making the M rating unavoidable and justified. After dissecting and analyzing every Halo game that's rated M, I've come to the conclusion that as a series, Halo is not a mature series. Does it sometimes have graphic imagery or violence? Sure. Does it sometimes tackle adult themes like war and genocide? Yes. The biggest instigator that caused the M ratings are of course the Flood. While they're definitely not for the faint of heart, if you compare them to modern day games, or heck even games that came out around the same time, it's pretty obvious that the Flood could have been a lot worse, and was in a way tamed because of Halo's art style. The way Halo has portrayed its gameplay, themes, and story through its art style, cinematography, and storytelling makes it along the lines of something akin to Star Wars. It's within the genre of science fiction with no real-world application, hence warranting an overall teen rating. Thanks for watching. This video has been a fun one to make, and I'd like to know what your thoughts and opinions are regarding Halo's ratings. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.